everyone. This is Pastor Gene along with Pastor William and Leslie Cox and Faye White, and we are in the library here at the church today and are ready to give you our report from the proceedings of the 2019 Annual Conference of the North Carolina Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church. Today in this video we're going to be talking about the delegation that was elected to go to General and Jurisdictional Conference. We're going to speak to the resolutions that were passed by our annual conference. We're going to talk a little bit about the financial implications that the conference actions took, as well as some information from the statistician's report, and then a little bit about the future of the church in terms of our clergy and some of the things you probably do need to be thinking about and certainly praying for as the church moves forward into this coming year. We're going to begin now, Leslie, by turning to you. We passed 15 or acted on 15 resolutions. You want to speak to those for us?
I will, but first I want to tell you how many people remembered St. Luke to us, wished everyone here well, and they're still praying for us. They're too numerous to mention. The good news is I think we had over 1,600 people down there, United Methodists from across this conference. And we celebrated. We celebrated generosity and diversity and inclusivity in all people. And we did start with 15 resolutions, but we pared those down to 10. The first 4 of our resolutions were actually brought to us by our youth. And most of us felt it was real important to support the youth of this church. They're not our future leaders, they're our leaders now, and we felt like we needed to engage them and give them that vote of confidence that they need. The first 4 were energy efficiency in churches, family of opioid addict anonymous, diversification of cultural expressions in youth events, and serving of fair trade coffee by United Methodist churches. The 5th was care of creation. The 6th was full communion with the Episcopal Church. And no, that's not a merger with the Episcopal Church. It has to do with the communion elements, I understand.
That's right, well said.
Seeking an end to the torture of solitary confinement, seeing our immigrant neighbors and the forces affecting them, the age of youth in the United Methodist Church, and the one that we went from 4 resolutions to 1 was number 15. We are now supporting the full inclusion of LGBTQAI plus persons and rejecting the traditional plan. That was merged into one resolution. All of these resolutions passed by a large margin, and just so you know, that last one passed 60 to 40. So it was overwhelmingly supported by all the people who were at conference.
And I think it's important for everyone to understand that these resolutions are just really position statements of our conference. They're not policy making and binding for the whole denomination. Those decisions are going to be made at the 2020 General Conference. And Faye, we elected pretty much an entirely new delegation. Yes. I'm going to let you speak now to the election of delegates to General and Jurisdictional Conference.
Okay. Every 4 years we have an election at our annual conference, and this was one of those years. The clergy elected 8 delegates, and the laity elected 8 delegates to go to General Conference. And then, in addition, we elected for the Jurisdictional Conference 8 clergy and 8 laity. And also, each clergy and laity elected 5 alternates in case they were needed. The Jurisdictional Conference will elect 5 bishops this year. And by the way, it will meet in, both conferences will meet in 2020. And 5 bishops will be elected at the Jurisdictional Conference. 2 from North Carolina, as Bishop Paul Leland from the Western Conference and Bishop Hope Ward will be from our conference retiring. So anyway, we're excited about the delegates. I think we chose them from the leadership of the conference, and I have every bit of trust in them to make the right decisions. But I was asked by the clergy, Pastor Jean, to report that, you see, at conferences we have a little unspoken friendly competition about our work completion. And this year, for the first time, and I've been to 3 elections, this is the first time the clergy has beat the laity, but I'm very proud of them, and I want you to be proud of them. They did a wonderful job.
Yes, we did. I've been going to 43 annual conferences now, and 10 of those have been elections. And we were done in a day and a half. Day and a half.
It was a miracle.
It was.
It was,
It definitely was a
absolutely.
miracle. And it should also be pointed out concerning the delegation that the General Conference will meet in May of 2020, and they will be setting policy for the denomination. The Jurisdictional Conference will be meeting in July of 2020 at Lake Junaluska, and that's where all of the general and jurisdictional delegates will congregate. And they, as Faye said, will be electing 5 new bishops, and of course, former pastor of this church, Paul Leland, and of course our current bishop, Hope Ward, will be retiring. And so 2 new bishops will be coming to North Carolina to serve. And they will be coming to inherit a very strong church. William, we did some things financially and statistically last year that demonstrates the strength of that church. You all, before William speaks, this is the book that we had to go through. You can get it all on your app, but we have a lot of material to cover, and William's going to try to do that now, the bulk of it in his time. William?
So if you remember, every January we make big pushes to get certain numbers in from your Sunday schools, from your different ministry outlets, and we call them that they're going on our Table 1, 2, and 3 reports. And while that may sound like a foreign language, the Table 1, 2, and 3 reports show the connectionalism of our conference. It puts all the churches together, all of their numbers, and we get to see how we're doing as an annual conference. We saw that there is a mission increase involvement across our annual conference of almost 200,000 people. That means 200,000 more people are reported to be involved in mission in some way in the local church in our annual conference. An increase also of just about 1,200 people in worship across our annual conference, with the biggest increase actually being those who worship online. About 7,200 more people now worship online as we are becoming a more modern church, as we are entering into the 21st century of technology. The online option of worship is becoming another option for people to be able to be in worship with one another. All these reports came to us. There's all kinds of numbers, and the report is full and very intense, but shows a lot of good things that is happening across our conference. We then moved to the conference budget, and one of the loudest cheers, I have not been going for 43 years, I've been going for 4 years now. One of the loudest cheers I've ever heard at annual conference happened in a financial report session. This annual conference was given the report that in 2021, so we are a year ahead in our budget approvals, we will cut the budget by 23%.
Cut the budget.
Cut the budget by 23%, which is roughly about $4.5 million. That's huge in a lot of ways. And it's due to a lot of different things. You've heard us celebrate at St. Luke that the past liability fund has now been funded completely, which allows this budget to be cut. And there's some other things that are happening that are going to make the conference budget go down. But it was a great celebration that we had, and everybody was very thankful for the committee for their work on that. Also, we agreed at the cabinet's Grace Southern went up and presented this plan that we were going to, as a conference, we were going to sell the Episcopal residency, the house that the bishop uses in our conference. We're going to sell that. We're going to begin the process of selling that home. And then from the money that's made off of selling that home, we're going to move into a direction of giving a housing allowance to our bishop and using that money that's going to fund for I think the word received for the long foreseeable future is what Grace said. So that was welcomed, voted, and approved unanimously, and we look forward to that and pray for those who are part of that process. Finally, the conference insurance plan, which is a wonderful insurance plan that we are very fortunate to have and operate, did increase by 6.4% beginning in 2020. That's a number that we, as clergy, pay particular attention to. Lots of other reports came in the administration reports of the annual conference. If you would like to read those and see those again, this workbook has all that wonderful information that you can sit back and have a nice read before you go to bed. It really puts you to sleep really, really well. But we do give thanks for all the reports and the committees, and it is the statistician's report that we are a very strong church, and whoever our bishop will be next year, Bishop Ward has done a wonderful job, and all those in the past and our clergy did a wonderful job making this such a strong conference.
There are 225,000 plus members of the United Methodist Church in the North Carolina Annual Conference. And St. Luke represents about 1,500 of those members. This year, as every year, we begin the annual conference with two separate sessions. One, a session for the laity to gather and to plan according to what they're going to be doing for the week, and another for the clergy. And in the clergy executive session, we approve reports and recommendations from the Conference Board of Ordained Ministry that pretty much establishes who the clergy will be and what the clergy will be about over the course of the coming year. It's a very extensive report, but there are a few things that I do want to point out to you that were of particular important notice this year. This year we ordained 10 new elders, 10 full members of the North Carolina Annual Conference. A lot of people may not realize this, but elders are not members of the local church. I'm not a member of St. Luke. I'm a member of the North Carolina Annual Conference. We took in 10 new elders this year. There are 39 persons who retired from full-time ministry this year. This difference could have an impact on the future leadership of our United Methodist Church. And so we need to be doing everything we can, like Leslie was saying, to listen to our young people and to be a part of allowing them to lead. We need to be doing everything we can to encourage our delegation and to continue doing the kinds of things in finance and administration, worship attendance, all of these statistical matters that build up and encourage. We're proud to be a part of the North Carolina Annual Conference, and we are proud to have been a part of the delegation that went on behalf of St. Luke United Methodist Church this year. We want to thank you and remind you that somewhere along in the course of this video, you will see the listing of the names of the new delegates that have been elected. And we want to encourage you between now and May, if you have any concerns or questions about what may be coming up before the General Conference next year, that you would be able to reach out to them. Laura Alverson will have their addresses and contact information in the church office as soon as the conference makes that available to all of us. So, on behalf of Leslie and William and Faye and myself, we want to thank you all for the opportunity to go to annual conference. Should I tell them?
Yeah.
To eat ice cream every night at Cold
Oh,
Stone.
wait a minute. I didn't know you were going to tell that.
Well, I was going to tell that. I got to be truthful. We got to be truthful with everybody.
Joyce is going to hear this.
That's right, she is.
Well, not just
Every
Joyce,
night.
not just Joyce, the whole world. So,
Well, there
anyway,
you go.
Either way, we're delighted that we were able to go this year, and we thank God, and we remember you in our prayers, making joyful sounds and looking forward to where the Lord is going to be leading all of us next.